Hey everyone, time for another video. So this week I'm talking about The Accusation by Bandy. Now you might have heard about this book in the news. I found out about it through CNN. It's actually been published in other countries before in like 2014, 2015, that time frame, specifically like France, South Korea, Portugal. But this year, 2017, is actually the first year that it's been published in the United States. And it's got a really interesting backstory. So if you haven't heard about it before, this is the first anti-North Korea book written by a North Korean who's still living in the country. You know, there's been a lot of memoirs coming out, a lot of, not really expose, but, my experience there type books, published after defectors have left the country, but this is the first book written by someone still in the country. And it's cool because at the end of the book, it does actually have a chapter talking about how this book came into being, how did it get out of North Korea. And, they change, some of the details to protect the guilty parties. But even just reading the story, I fear for the person who wrote this. The person wrote under the pen name Bandy. It's Korean for firefly. And he got it smuggled out through a cousin who defected, who then, the person who helped her get out, she sent him to, go get the manuscript. And it's an incredible manuscript. The one thing that I would say might be a hindrance to... it's not even really a hindrance, it's just something I noticed. There are a lot of sayings and analogies that are probably specific to that area that I've never heard before. So when I was reading it, and unfortunately I don't think I marked any of those pages. But it, reading it, it was kind of hard to make heads or tails of it, like what it was supposed to be referencing or what it was supposed to mean. Like we say water off a duck's back, or I don't know, now that I'm trying to think of one, I can't think of one. But sayings like that, it probably makes better sense in a certain context. So, that threw me off a little bit, but, cultural thing. This is told as a series of short stories about different families and different situations in North Korea. And having read about North Korea in other books, I can see a lot of common themes. This, you're constantly being watched if you don't, like when Kim Jong-il, and when his father, I'm sorry, I'm just blanking today. When the grandfather and father died, if you weren't grieving enough, if you didn't show up and, put flowers at the memorials, if you, didn't look the part, if you didn't sound the part, you were constantly being watched. There's also this theme of the sins of the father being passed on to the son, and 3 generations of the family. I think the biggest, I actually marked 2 stories in here that really, really reflect a North Korean situation. So the one story is this reporter is talking to this guy who, he had some sort of dishonor and he was sent into the boonies to work as part of his punishment. The chapter's called The Red Mushroom. And they talk about how there was an incident with the man who was banished his group. The cook put in the wrong type of mushrooms. They put in red mushrooms, and it killed the cook and left the rest of them sick. The municipal building in that town is shaped like a red mushroom. So you see that symbolism there of the government is there and it poisons the country. It poisons the community it's put in. It, people die, people are sick, and people recognize this parallel, like you're killing me. So I thought that was really kind of a cool way to put it. And this paragraph specifically, the guy who's been banished has been brought forth on charges that he's been disloyal to the state and whatnot. So they're standing at this public trial for him. There's a reporter there, it's told from his point of view. And the Inchik, the condemned guy, he's looking and he sees the red mushroom building. He's like, red mushroom, and everyone's just like, he's losing his mind. What's wrong with him? Red mushroom. For Yunmo, the reporter, those two simple words are the product of a deranged mind told of the hundreds and thousands of other words that must have been boiling inside Inchik at that very moment, consuming him like the fires of hell. Now that Inchik's snow-white conscience had finally recognized the poisonous mushroom that had put down roots in this land, he was summoning a desperate strength to pull it up from the ground, that mushroom stained with deceit and oppression, with tyranny and pacification. Now, I'm no English major. I don't go looking for symbolism, but damn, that's good. That is good. Especially when you talk about, you look at current events and what's happening with Korea, and we're moving naval ships in that area, and North Korea's, doing its North Korean thing. It brings a new dimension to what you're seeing in the news, reading about people who are there. And then there's another story, I don't know, what's it called? So, it's this family trying to, let me see, pandemonium. This set of grandparents and the granddaughter, they get trapped at this train station because there's a class 1 event going on, meaning that the ruler is, in the area holding an event and no one can go anywhere. No one can move. Everyone just stay where you are. So they're stuck at this train station. And the grandmother's finally like, dude, this sucks. We're running out of food. It's been a couple of days. We're running out of food. I'm just going to walk and see if I can, do something to take care of this situation. And she ends up getting picked up by the leader, which I think at this point is Kim Jong-il. The great leader. Yeah. Oh, Kim Il-sung. Sorry, Kim Il-sung. She ends up getting picked up by Kim Il-sung in his car in the convoy. And while she's there, they suddenly release everyone on the train station. Okay, you can go. And people are crushed getting to the train. It's pandemonium, the name of the chapter. And the grandfather's hips end up getting busted, and the granddaughter, she's like 5 years old, they break her leg. so they're suffering. And the grandmother, she has to give a statement saying, yes, the great leader, he picked me up, it was so nice, blah, 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 singing the praises of the great leader. And later on in the apartment, the granddaughter's crying, she's having, she's freaking out over the memories of what she just went through. The grandfather's in pain, and you can hear the grandmother's recorded statement playing over the loudspeakers. And I can't even I'd have to read the entire chapter to you. It's really good. And I know this video is I'm just kind of rambling a little bit. I get that. But the issue in North Korea, I'm going to keep this video as apolitical as possible. But the issue in North Korea is not as simple as bomb them, don't bomb them, do this, do that. Before I was stationed in Korea, you heard a lot of people talking about, and even while I was in Korea, you heard a lot of people talking about, the North Koreans are brainwashed, or this, or that, blah, 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 blah. They support this guy, that, blah, blah, blah. And the fact is that, yes, there are some in North Korea that, have drunk the Kool-Aid and they're all about communism, and, whether they're living the high life, the low life, they're living and dying by the whims of their leader. But there are so many that recognize the cracks in the wall. They recognize the red mushroom in their midst. And so many are dying to get out. So many, they want a better life. They want to be able to feed their families. And they don't want to live in that system anymore. So, what I would say, definitely read this book. This is an incredible book, and like I said, it's the first book of its kind. So it is worth. As soon as I heard about it, I ordered it. I didn't even wait. It is worth reading. But I also encourage you, I implore you, to go read about the situation. Go read about North Korea. Read about daily life there. On my Goodreads page, you'll see I have a list of the best Korean books that I've read. And, maybe I'll make a video talking about those too. But learn about the situation, especially if you've never been there, if you've never learned about it before. Don't issue a judgment on what we should do about Korea until you've learned about it. Like I said, not all North Koreans are, these brainwashed automatons that people are saying they are. There are a lot of people who recognize the cracks and who want to get out of there. And, they would love for their leader to, hit the road. But he's there. He's not. So, if nothing else, it'll be edifying for you to learn more about the situation over there. So this book, definitely highly recommended. I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. The average Goodreads review was 4.19. So it's definitely one of the more highly reviewed books that I've seen on there. Definitely recommended. Otherwise, that's it. I got a couple more books in the works that I'm working on. Unfortunately, right now, none of them are really grabbing my attention, so I'm working on it. In the meantime, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think I should read, if you agree, disagree, if you've read the book, what you think, what other books you think I might like. And until next time, readers, I hope you have a great day.